everybody, and welcome back to the Still in Love podcast. This is season 3, and we are now on episode number 6. And today, we're talking about...
What do you bring to the table?
This is a very interesting topic to me. Like the episodes that we just got done with, talking about placement in our lives, we are children, your man, so on and so forth. I find this topic that is buzzing all around social media about what you bring, what individuals bring to the table. I find it very, very interesting because the value that's placed on some things, some of these conversations are really sad. Yep. It's really, really sad, and it's very disheartening. But today's episode can definitely be wisdom, knowledge for those who are single, and can even be explored by those who are married in terms of you reflecting on what you brought to the table, just as a married man or a married woman. So today's conversation is about to be good.
It is.
Amen. So what do you think? What do you think about people and what they're bringing to tables now?
I hear, sometimes on social media, a lot of people getting upset about, just even there being a question, particularly when the guy asks the woman, what is it that you're bringing to the table? I think, they're coming from what I've heard, sometimes the guy's coming from a standpoint of, men being a commodity, and really men waking up and realizing that, it's not a whole lot of great guys out there. And so later you have to, bring something to the table to get a good guy, so that's sort of, what I hear in the limited times that I've, listened in on this topic. But what I, and on both ends, I heard one lady say, what you mean what I bring to the table? You asked me what I bring to the table, like, like I'm on a job interview, I can understand them asking me, but I don't understand it in a relationship. And I can understand how some people could feel some kind of way about that, but I don't think that that's a bad thing, to, and not asking the question, what do you bring to the table? But I don't think that's a bad mindset to have, I think it's anything that you're getting involved in. You want to know, any type of partnership, any type of relationship, you want to know, what is it that this person have to offer? I think we can phrase it a little different.
Absolutely.
What do you have to offer?
I would love that.
Yeah. Why should I connect with you? And I think that's a fair question. And I think you probably should want to know the same in getting a relationship with me. Yes. With one of the things we shared, just with our congregation in what we call Innovation Way, is we shared, in joining the church, we want to let you know what we expect from you.
Right.
This is what we expect. So this is what we would like for you to bring to the table. Right. Here are the expectations. Right. And at the same token, this is what you can expect from us. This is what we're gonna deliver. And so I think that is really good. That is fair, and you should do that, because who want to connect with someone that's, and you don't know what they're bringing to the table. You don't know how they add value. You don't know what they got. You want to make sure that they have something to bring and not coming to the table empty-handed, leaving away with something. Right. Right. And so I think that's a good question, and I think you should bring something to the table, and you should. But it goes back to this. It goes back to not necessarily focusing on what you're bringing to the table for someone, but focusing on you. And as you focus on you and bettering you, when you come to the table, you come into the table with a gold mind. Right. When you have really, really focused on you and how to be a better you, bettering yourself, bettering for yourself, for the glory of God. Right. I think then when it's time for you to come to the table, you come to the table with a bucket load of assets.
Those would be considered those intangibles, those things that you can't necessarily touch or see, but we feel their presence.
Yep.
And I guess that's part of what was when we talked about this a few weeks ago. I felt some type of way because I'm like, don't ask me what I bring to the table. What do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
Because I almost got upset about it because I often, whenever I see an individual asking this, even on social media, you know, there's a lot of podcasts that's talking about it right now. And it kind of always gives off this arrogance when they're asking the question, almost coming from a standpoint of, I know I'm bringing some heat to the table. So now you tell me what you bring to the table. And the reality is, some of what we bring to the table, I think it should be some general things that we all, and again, we're talking to kingdom people, prayerfully kingdom people, but there should be some general things that we all bring to the table, that everybody should bring to the table. And then there are going to be some things that come to the table that may not be good at your table because it may not be something that you value at your table. So I want us to be very careful, especially if we are single, that we don't allow that, let's say you're in a conversation with a potential husband, a potential wife, and they kind of start telling you some things about what they would like in an individual that they're going to marry. And then you're sitting there and you're thinking like, okay, well, some of these things, I bring the general stuff to the table, but some of these other things I don't necessarily bring because they aren't or have not been up until this point a value in my life. And don't walk away from the table though feeling like you are you're a failure or that you are less than. One things that come to mind when I think about that sometimes is sometimes physical appearance. Because I've heard a few people talk about, hey, I bring the fact that I care about my physical body, I bring that as an asset to the relationship, and that's great. But there you may be sitting across from somebody who I care, but at this present moment in my life, that's not necessarily something that I value. I'm not into working out. I'm not into certain things. And I want to encourage, especially my sister friends, to not walk away from the table feeling less than because you may not be in that place where you're holding really, really high value to that, or you're in a place where you can do something about this. So I want us to be careful with how we're filtering some of the things that we're hearing, because sometimes even when because social media has a presence in our lives, we're hearing about what other people want at their table, and we are saying whether or not we measure up to somebody else's opinion about what they want at their table. So what's important is you can hear all of that, but when you are seeking to build a relationship with someone, you only need to be concerned about the person that you are potentially getting into a relationship with, because my table may look different. The things that I desire at my table may be different or look different from the person sitting right next to me. It's like that even in a restaurant.
That's right.
I order what I want at a restaurant. I may order, I'm not a big lobster eater. Like I don't like it. But the sister next to me, it may be a requirement for her that you be able to give me lobster at my table. Well, over here, I don't like it. So I can't say I wouldn't want in my singleness a potential suitor to say, oh, well, all women want lobster at their table.
Yeah.
No, all women don't. Some women don't like lobster. Some women don't care some women don't like seafood. Some women are vegetarians. Some women are vegans, and vice versa. So I want to put that out there first. Be careful with some of our taking on somebody else's request at their table.
Absolutely.
You make sure that there are some basics that we should be taking care of. Kingdom people, there are some basics. Let's make sure, first and foremost, that first thing we bring to the table is that submission.
Come on.
First and foremost. And it's not submitting to a man. It's not submitting to a woman. It is submitting unto the Lord.
Preach.
Because when you say I do, there will be a measure of submission that prayerfully and hopefully already exists inside of you, which is going to make it just a smidge less difficult for you to submit in marriage. So that's first. And when you are first submitted unto the Lord, it walking with the Lord, makes you kinder. Walking with the Lord makes you sweeter. Walking with the Lord makes you mindful of how you're speaking. Walking with the Lord prayerfully, you lean into that and you ask the Lord for wisdom. It makes you wiser. Walking with the Lord gives you an understanding about valuing certain things in your life. And from that, you will, anybody who has gone from, you can even take your friendship. If you were in a particular season and you had a certain group of friends and you all did what you did, everybody was ratchet. Everybody was doing their own thing. Everybody was, out there. And then you get into a new season where you are really working on and trying to establish and develop this relationship with the Lord. Your desires change. The things that you consider fun changes. And that same notion in terms of a relationship, what we possibly valued years ago when we come over on this side, we desire new things. But that's why let that be first, so we don't have these future issues and difficulties later on. So that would be first to me across the board. Kingdom men, kingdom women. You looking for a kingdom men? If you're looking for a kingdom-minded woman, first things first. Let's look for the submission. And so before I get into some other things about fruit, because I'll talk about the fruit later. But let's look for that. Let's also look for individuals who have a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-worth. Because now there are people who walk with the Lord where they don't necessarily have that.
That's right.
I love Jesus, but I don't necessarily love myself the way that I should. And when you see that, I'm not saying that should be a red flag, but I am saying that you should consider the fact that is not something that they are bringing to the table. When you're trying to size people up and you're trying to see, there are some things like, hey, if I am submitted unto the Lord, later on, it's definitely going to help you that I am submitted unto the Lord. Also having, and I know people talk about this a lot now, but just having some really healthy self-awareness too. Me being aware of all of myself, good and bad, and what I bring to the table in terms of some issues or challenges or struggles that I may have. Being very honest about that. Always being in a place of I'm working on myself. I'm submitting some of these things, challenges, issues, all of those things unto the Lord. But really knowing that so that I can share those things with you. And also some other things, just having, what was you getting ready to say?
No, I think, I think that's really good because in what you're bringing to the table, because oftentimes you get people who say, who think because I'm well educated, that's what I'm bringing to the table. Because I have, a great credit score, that's what I'm bringing to the table. Those things are great because I have a great attitude, that's what I'm bringing to the table. Because I'm a great leader, that's what I'm bringing to the table. But those are not the only things that you're bringing to the table.
Absolutely.
So let's bring, those are the only things that you're showing me that's present at the table.
Correct.
But there's other things under the table that you hadn't brought to the forefront that's on the table.
That's those intangibles.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's show everything that you're bringing. Yes. Show your mama issues that you have, because you bring a mama issues to the table. You bring a low self-esteem. You're bringing narcissism,
anger issues
to the table. You're bringing all this. You bringing issues with your baby mama. You bringing the fact that you was abandoned. You bring a molestation to the table. So you're bringing, and if you don't work on your own self, if you don't work on your own issues and work out your own salvation, these are also the issues that you'll bring to somebody's table because you've worked on those tangible things. Look at my resume. I'm buttoned up. Look at my, look at how I speak. I'm very articulate. I'm very intelligent. I'm well versed. And so, but no, you got to see beyond that.
Patterns.
That's right.
I bring patterns.
Absolutely.
To this relationship.
And what type of patterns?
One of the things I believe that singles should do at a certain point in our relationship, and we're headed towards somewhere, is to probably just find a way to ask about past relationships.
Absolutely.
And if you know these past people, past individuals, if you're aware of them, now I'm not saying go stalk these people on social media. I'm not saying go snooping and all of that, but just ask, how did the relationship end? Are we still friends now? What are some similar characteristics that all of your past people have in common. If, sister friend, you are always dating a certain type of man, if as a woman you tend to gravitate towards men who are in some way underperforming in their lives, not really living up to their potential, kind of just barely kind of getting by, pay attention to that.
That's right.
Because even in your own life, not just in the person you're dating. Let me take that back a little bit, but also look at that in your own life. You tend to look for people, or you're attracted to people who are in a place or in a certain place, and know that, and measure that against the new person that you are potentially about to get in a relationship with, but also now to the person who you are interested in getting a relationship with. Look at their past relationships. Are there patterns? And I'm not talking about physical patterns, because most of us have a type. Some people have types, like, oh, I like them like this, or I like them like that. I mean, in terms of sometimes personality types, sometimes characteristic types. So paying attention to some of that, because that's going to tell you sometimes a little bit of what you need to know. And if you are falling into that, if you see that he has a type and all of his girlfriends in the past have had probably anger issues, or they're very attitudinal, or they are 1 second away from the pop off, love drama, have to have chaos in their lives, and now he's dating you, do you see me like them? Or is this you trying to do something different? I pay attention to those things, it's especially patterns. So I just wanted to put that, to drop that out there about that.
Yeah. So let's stay with singles now. What should, in your opinion, a woman bring to the table? You mentioned a relationship with the Lord.
Absolutely.
Submission.
Yes.
Self-worth.
Please.
Okay.
Please. I cannot move past it, because if you are healthy, if your self-worth and your value is healthy, you will see things for what they really are. And it almost puts you in a position where there is no room for compromise. Because I love me, I am not going to partner with somebody who has the potential to pull me down. And I know sometimes as women, we do a lot of marrying for potential. We do a lot of getting with somebody for potential. We allow ourselves to do that because he has the potential to do certain things. But here's the thing about potential. When you look at him, you will be able to see, even if he's not at his 10, you will be able to see that he has moved from 1 to 3 to 5 to 7. So he may not be at a 10. But some of us, we married the potential. Oh, girl, I know he can do that. But you have seen no real movement in his life. He's been the same for the last 2, 3, 5, 7 years. And so there's a difference between potential and somebody moving in progress. And they're progressing in their movement. Everybody in the world has potential. Nobody is probably functioning at their max potential. But what you should be looking at is the fruit. Like, are they moving anything? Or and I get it. Sometimes what a person needs is seemingly what a person needs is someone to come alongside them and push them and help them. And sometimes that proves to be beneficial. Yeah. However, I caution it sometimes, because let's wait until you see they have traction for themselves. Then I can come alongside you and help support and push what you already got going. Yeah. But if I have to be the 100% motivator, the encourager, the mover of your feet, I got a problem with that. But only people who have a healthy self-worth and a healthy self-esteem will see that as an issue. Other people, and listen, my sister friends who don't have healthy self-esteem, they sometimes find themselves in a position that they take on projects. Like they appreciate sometimes the challenge of helping a man get where he needs.
Oh my goodness.
I can help you get where you need if you're making progress for yourself. And I am in no way saying that you need to be at a 10, but you have some things. If you desire to be in a place educationally, in your career, you want to make some career moves, some entrepreneurship moves, you want to make some business moves, some whatever type of moves, you're doing something for yourself first. Yeah. You're doing some things, and all I'm doing, I'm coming alongside and I am adding value. Now I'm going back to let's even take Adam and Eve. The first woman that hit the scene. The first woman. God looked at Adam. He pulled Eve from Adam. And here's what was the reason why he did it. Because he looked at Adam and he realized, you know what? I created you, but it's not good that you be down here by yourself.
Come on, sister.
So let me create something that's going to help you. What does help mean? It means that I'm going to add value. As a woman, that's what I bring to the table. My submission to the Lord, my healthy self-esteem, self-worth. I have some amazing self-awareness, sometimes too much self-awareness. And I'm bringing other attributes to the table because the Spirit of God lives on the inside of me. I am bringing peace. I'm bringing a spirit of forgiveness. I have long suffering. I'm walking. I don't like chaos. I'm not bringing drama to you because I'm taking care of first things first. Now, in addition to that, when I take care of first things first in my own life, my added value is I also bring those things into your life. I bring a level of submission into your life. I bring my healthiness in my own esteem. I bring that by not by encouraging the same thing in you. When I'm fully aware, when I'm bringing these other characteristics, when I'm being wise, when I am being kind, I'm bringing that to the table. I'm making you better. And I'm not making you better for me, per se. I am making you better and helping you to fulfill whatever it is God has given you to do, while also allowing him to do what he wants to do in my life as well. I am helping you. I am a helpmeet. That's it. But sometimes we take on these projects and we are helping people and they are not helping themselves. And it's hard. And then you get to a place where you're frustrated because he doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to do anything because you've made all those decisions for him. And we can eliminate some of that.
Hold up, listen. I think that it's so important that Adam, you know, his role, God created Adam, and out of his rib he created his wife, Eve, and she's called to be a helpmeet. And brothers, I want to encourage you, brothers. It's what do you look when you're looking for a woman to bring something to the table? Make sure that you're looking for one. Make sure you have a table for her to bring something to.
Okay, come on now. What's at the table?
Yeah, you got to bring the table. you got to bring the table, man. You got to bring the table. You have to understand that before I seek a wife, I need to have a table. You know what I'm saying? To bring somebody to the table.
That's really good.
You asking what she bring to the table. You ain't got no table. She's like, what table? Okay, I got a whole lot, but we ain't got no table to bring anything to. And I'm not necessarily saying you have to have $1 million in the bank and you have to have 3 homes and 4 cars, but you have to have a foundation that you're standing on. What type of table do you have that you have to bring somebody to? So that's the first thing. But in looking for a wife, it's important that you look for a woman that loves God. Those things. And real kingdom brothers, that's what they look for. And we talked before about, we don't look for, oh, she got 3 degrees. Oh, she's a doctor. Oh, those things. Now, in my younger days, and when we were trying to charge a woman or you get a certain status for dating a lawyer or a doctor or, a principal or something, oh, you the man because you got her. That's when she's 10 years older than you, or, you don't really have anything, and, you driving her car and dropping off at work. That's when you were on that level. Or with those type of guys, they value that. But real kingdom guys, real men of God, that's not necessarily what they value. She doesn't have to have 3 degrees or 4 degrees or a college degree at all. Now she need to be intelligent, but what we value is, does she know the Lord? Is she submitted to the Lord? Because we understand that if she's not submitted to the Lord, she's not going to be able to be submissive to me. Right. And our top need is respect. We don't want, he didn't want Eve arguing with her. God done created you. Because I wasn't having beef before you got here. I wasn't having arguments before you got here. You need to, why you name it a dog? Why you name it when I'm in the garden naming these animals, elephant. Why you ain't named that one a giraffe? It's not, since he's so big, you should have named. No, we don't. Look, we don't need all that. When I'm naming the animals, let me name the animals. You know what I'm saying? So don't come and tell me, well, we should do, and so That's what we looking for. Don't come to the table and complain about what's at the table. Don't come to the table and trying to change the table. And not you come to the table, you add value to what's already at the table. That's why it's important for the brothers to have some, to have a table and to have some at the table. And she comes and add value. She comes and help what's at the table. She comes and say, hey, I can decorate the table. I can bring my expertise to the table. I can bring some kindness to the table. You're wisdom. A little rough, some wisdom. You're a little rough around the edges. I can, you're a little, you kind of quick to move. I'm patient. I can see things that you don't necessarily see. I listen to you. So that's what she brings to the table. We want a woman to bring wisdom to the table. We wanted to bring submission to the table. We wanted to bring just a woman's touch to the table. We don't need another dude. Like you bringing me. You rough. I don't know. You cool. When I get from the table and I'm in the other room, I'm on the court, you come in. But at the table, this is what I need at the table. And so I think those things are really important, and it's important that women know, because a lot of women is trying to get degrees, and there's nothing wrong with getting a degree.
Absolutely not.
Get your degree, get 10 degrees.
Get it all.
Get it all. Get you a house. Don't wait around and say, I'm not going to get a house because I'm waiting on Prince Charming to come and sweep me off my feet. So I'm going to stay with my mama until he comes. No, if he hadn't come, if that's what you want, that's fine. But if he hadn't come yet, hey, get your degree.
Absolutely.
Hey, go and start your business. Go and be an entrepreneur. We're not saying don't do that. Travel, do all of it. But what we are saying is to understand that most kingdom men don't necessarily value that. It's
as much as we think.
As much I got all this, and sometimes with you having all of that, sometimes it could be a turnoff if you don't know how to handle all of that.
Correct.
Because he need to know, and what he wants. Listen, I'm cool with you having all of that. I'm cool with all of the degrees. But when you come to this table, your degree don't really count, so to speak. When you come to this table, like what really count and what give you points at this table is your submission to the Lord, your respect, your
who you are, those characteristics that you can't buy, that you can't get in school. You have to get these things. It's having, even when I think about like characteristics that have to do with you just simply making it, some levels of tenacity, that you're resilient.
You're not a lazy woman.
Come on now.
See, you're not a lazy woman. Because sometimes you bring that to the table. So you're
even with degrees.
Yes.
Even with degrees.
And it's the external. So here it is. Ladies, don't focus on the external when you're thinking about bringing something to the table. What we want to see as kingdom men, we want to see the internal. Who you are in the Lord. Who you are in your submission. What do you value? Who you are in terms of a mother. So working on those things, on those things for you, bettering yourself for you. And when you better yourself for you, and it's not about a man or coming to a table, and you're working on being a better you, working on your self-sabotage, working on your issues, working on your insecurities. When you become a better you, then you can add value to your future husband.
Absolutely.
Because you bringing you to the table.
Absolutely.
And you've been working on you. You've been working on that inner. I'm working on a better me. I'm working on this attitude, because sometimes you bring things to the table that's not welcome at the table, and that shouldn't be welcome. You bring a lack of submission. You bring control, because that's what you've seen. That's what you're used to. And he don't want the control at the table. Don't come to the table trying to control him and tell him you need to eat with this for. You must not took in the etiquette classes. You must say the word like this. He ain't asked you to bring all that to the table. Learn wisdom from the Lord so you can know how to talk to him, how to speak to him, how to correct him when he need to be corrected, but in a loving way that he don't even know that you even correcting him, because you know how to do it. You're working on your wisdom. The Bible says the wise woman builds her house, and with her own hand she tears it down. Don't tear down your house because you've been focusing on the wrong thing in your singleness.
Yes. And it is, I understand the logic behind it, because when we do those things, when we go back to school, when we do get educated, when we travel, when we're out here living our lives, sometimes we have a different drive to do those things. And the drive, the push to do that will sometimes feed into our independence. It'll feed into sometimes our arrogance. It'll feed into certain things. And so when we get to the table, we feel like you hold as much value to these things as I do, when it's like that's not necessarily the case. So build all of those things. Go get it. You better go get it. Live your life. I wish single women would live their best lives while they are single. Live them, but don't live them minus that first things first.
Absolutely.
And that's living this life submitted to the Lord so that he keeps that thing in check.
Yes.
And he keeps that, now, wait, what you got going on? What you doing? Why are you doing it? Why are you pushing that degree? Why are you pushing it? And I know that we stopped and we paused and we got on the sisters for a moment, but I want to make this note, even in terms of the guys. I thought that was awesome that you said, bring the table to the table.
Absolutely.
Bring the table. And I don't know, maybe I have heard it, but I don't think that I have. To guys, bring the table. You bring it. She don't need to bring the table. You bring the table. Yeah. And I love that. Like I absolutely love that. Yeah.
I liken it to this. Mm-hmm. If I go and get my I become a medical doctor. Mm-hmm. All of these years of my life, mm-hmm. I've been in ministry. Mm-hmm. I've been in leadership. Mm-hmm. I have a master's of divinity. Mm-hmm. And, from a Christian standpoint. So mm-hmm. when I go and get my medical degree, mm-hmm. none of that would matter. Mm-hmm. They don't care that I've been preaching. Mm-hmm. They don't care that I've been leading. They don't care about my master's degree in divinity.
Right.
That doesn't hold any weight. Now, because of those things, I can add value because of what I've learned in my experiences. Mm-hmm. But I can't bring that as leverage mm-hmm. to say, hey, listen, I have all of these. Now mm-hmm. I'm something. Those things don't matter. So I can't focus on those things if I think I'm going to be at this table mm-hmm. and it has any value at this table. Mm-hmm. What I have to do is get internships and show how I've been moving in the medical field to know that, because that's what matters to them, mm-hmm. And I think sometimes it's just the wrong perspective to where you have to understand that that doesn't move us. This is one guy said he's very successful, and it was his fiance at the time, mm-hmm. and she had a really high position. She was a judge, and he said this in the counseling session. He said, listen, when you come in this house, when we get married, you ain't judged when you come in the house. Right. You come in this house and you're my wife, mm-hmm. And so but they said a lot, because you're telling people what to do. They standing when they see you. It's all of these things, yes. But that doesn't. I'm successful as well. Yeah. So your money, I don't need your money. I had money before you had money. Mm-hmm. I had money before you came into the to the marriage. Mm-hmm. I had a nice car before your nice car. So these things don't move me mm-hmm. because I've had all of that. Mm-hmm. You can, matter of fact, you can stop working and we still, and I got enough to support both of us. Mm-hmm. So those things, but what I don't have mm-hmm. is, and what I need from you is that submission. Mm-hmm. I don't have that without mm-hmm. you. Mm-hmm. I don't have that love. I don't have that care. Mm-hmm. I don't have that wisdom. Mm-hmm. I don't have that somebody that's riding with me. Yeah. I don't have that companionship. Yeah. I don't have that softness without
compassion.
you.
Yep.
That's what I mm-hmm. need from you.
Yeah.
Focus on that while you being a judge, while you being a lawyer, while you being everything that you want to be. Yeah. But when you come to this table, this is what matters, and this is what's important mm-hmm. at this table.
One of the things I think maybe us exploring later on would definitely be, because I think most sisters get caught up in how to have both. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to balance being strong here, and here, and getting it, and then I have to lay all of that to the side when I get married. That's hard to do because I have been pretty independent. I've been pretty self-sufficient. I have had to manage all of these things by myself. And I know that there is a group of women. I have, women in my life who like, yeah, girl, I can't wait Please. Yes. Yeah. I please come tell me what to do. Please come tell me what to do with this car. Please come tell me what to do with these kids. Please come tell me what to do with these teachers at the school that's calling me. Please come. I'm welcome somebody to tell me what to do. But there is also a group of sister friends who exist that's like, I know, but I struggle. I struggle Absolutely. With maintaining my own independence and thinking about, or why should I even have to lay my independence down to get married? Why I shouldn't have to do that. So I think that's something worth exploring, because Absolutely. That's a real issue. It's a real challenge. Not so much an issue, but that's a real challenge.
And I think when you have a guy that doesn't have a table, you can't lay that independence down.
Absolutely.
When you have a guy who hadn't really brought much of anything to the table, and you have to carry him, then you can't lay that independence down. Right. And I think some women are stuck in those situations to where, if this is the kind of man that I have, if I laid my independence down, we'd be in the poorhouse.
Yeah.
but when you have a man that had a table prior to, we have a man that is bringing leadership, that is bringing resources, that is bringing financial resources, that is bringing people resources to the table, that is bringing vision to the table. I think it's important that you really, really do those things. That's why it's important. I mean, it's important on the front end. Premarital counseling is paramount. You have to know what you're getting yourself involved in before you get involved in it. Right. It's paramount. But I think that it's so important that, especially when you have that kingdom guy, that you learn. And I talked about this in a message of, just the importance of this. I say all the time that oftentimes as men, we're asked to play a role in which we had no script. But for women as well, Absolutely. They asked to be submissive,
when we never
and they
saw
never
that.
saw submissive. They never saw submission.
No.
They asked to be, dependent, and they hadn't seen that. They mom, they grandma, they
especially
aunt,
in a healthy way,
had to be independent. Yeah,
but we want no parts of that.
Yeah.
I don't want any parts of I'm dependent on you, but I have to be. You know what I'm saying? And you out doing what you want to do.
Like,
you're cheating. You got extra kids. Most of us if you look in our families, so all of that.
And the thing is, so that's why we push so hard on kingdom marriages and having a kingdom man that's really standing up. Because I think that's where it is. If this brother is being this guy, ladies, let it go.
Yes.
If he can carry you, if he can cover you, if he is that guy, if he is that lead, you have to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, like we all do in our walks with the Lord.
In every sense of the way.
And get on the wheel. God, I am a controlling, independent woman and have been for years. But the same way that you've had to kill your flesh about your attitude, the same way you had to kill your flesh about your controlling issues within your own life or your spending habits in your own life, it's the same way you have to kill your flesh in submitting to your husband and being interdependent, in loving and kind and respectful. You have to do that. I think it's really, we can explore it, but it's no way around that. And particularly when you have that brother, when he's that guy, ladies, because you have to be him even if he's not that guy. But if he's that guy and he got you, and he's showing you that I got you and I can handle you and I can handle I can handle everything about you. That's enough in me that can handle all your stuff. Girl, if you don't give it to that man and let it go and say, I'm carrying stuff that I don't have any business carrying, God has blessed me to let it go and to help this man be, what God has called him to be and for us to build together. So I think that's, we going to stop now because I think we got to do a part two. We have to do a part two because I want to show the people an illustration about the table.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So.
Well, y'all, that's all we have for this episode. Make sure you come back next week so that you can hear the continuation of what you bring to the table.
And don't forget, don't start in love,
but stay in love. See y'all next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Still in Love podcast. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode and it has indeed blessed your life. If it has, we need you to do 3 things for us. 1, we want you to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform so that way you can be notified when a new episode drops. Number 2, we want you to review it. Click on that 5-star and let us know how much you enjoyed it. We absolutely love feedback here at the Still in Love podcast, and this helps us to make sure that we are scratching where there's an itch. And number 3, we want you to share it with a friend or family member. Also, if you have a question, we'd love to hear it and even talk about it right here on the podcast. You can submit those questions at stillinlovepodcast.com. You can also connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Innovation Church Memphis and on TikTok at We Are Innovation. Until next time, peace.
Don't just start in love,
but stay in love.
Thanks for tuning in to Still in Love podcast. God bless.